Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's session, we will discuss about how to bind the data to multiple grids. In previous session, we have discussed about how to bind the data to one single grid. So in today's session, we are going to work with multiple grid views. So this is the example we are going to discuss in today's session. This is one grid view where we are displaying employee master details. Here we are taking one more grid view to display the department details. Okay. First we will see quick demo. This is the final output of this session. So this is one grid view where we are showing employee master details. This is one more grid view where we are displaying department master details. We will create one stored procedure to get the employee master data as well as department master data. We will maintain the data in the dataset and we will bind to grid view. In data table we can maintain only single table, whereas in dataset we can maintain more than one table data. Okay. In this example I am using Microsoft Visual Studio. I am going to use ASP.NET and C# from Visual Studio, and we are using Microsoft SQL Server for database. These are all the implementation steps we have to do one by one to get the output as we expected. First we have to create one web project. So in that we have to create one new web form and we have to create two grid views in the web form. Then we have to create one connection string in web.config. We are going to read the connection string from web.config to connect the database. Then we have to create one stored procedure to get the employee and department data. So in single stored procedure we are going to get the data from the employee master as well as department master. Then we have to create one class file to store all our business logics. Then we have to create a function to bind the data to grid views. Finally we have to call the function on page load to bind the data to grid views. Okay. We'll switch to Visual Studio and we will implement these steps one by one. For this example I am using Visual Studio 2013. Click on File, New. We have to create new web project here. Click on Project. So under Visual C# you have to select Web. Under Web we have to select Visual Studio 2012. I am selecting .NET Framework 4.5.1 and I am selecting empty web application here. Here we have to provide our project name. I am giving us multi-grid. Click on OK. Expand the Solution Explorer. Our project has been created here. Now we have to create one web form and we have to design the template as per our requirement. For that we have to right click on our project. Click on Add. Click on New Item. We need web form here. I selected web form. We have to provide one name for our web form. I am giving us multi-grid. Click on Add. Our web form has been created here. To make things fast, I kept the design part everything ready. So I am copying this one. So these columns manually we have added. We will see one by one. So these are all the columns we are binding to our grid view. This is the header text and this is the data field where we are getting from the database. So these are all header text. Okay. Like this we created our grid views. Next we have to create one connection string in web.config to establish a connection between our web application and database. Double click on web.config. Here we have to add our connection strings. Here we have to add connection string name. I am giving as my connection, and then we have to provide the connection string. We have to provide data source first. Here I am using Windows authentication to connect database. That's why I am providing my system name here. Then we have to provide the database name here. We are using demo database. Then we have to provide integrated security true. So our connection string is ready here. Now we have to create a stored procedure to get the employee and department data. For that we have to switch to SQL Server. I am using SQL Server 2012 for this demo purpose, and I am using Windows authentication. If you want you can use the SQL Server authentication by using login ID and password. For this example I am going to use Windows authentication only. Click on connect. expand the databases, we are going to use the demo database. We have two tables here. One is employee master and another one is department master. Okay, we will see what are all the columns available in the table first. So from employee master we want name, designation, salary, state and country, and we need department name also. From the department master we need department name, department code only. Okay, now we have to create one stored procedure. For that, click on your database, click on new query. We are creating stored procedure here. Create procedure. We are going to create one user defined stored procedure, and we have to provide the stored procedure name here. Get employee and department master data. We have to begin here and end. First we need employee master data. For that, so we have to use the select query here. From employee master I need name, then I need designation, then salary, then we need state, then country I want. Okay, execute the query. It's executing perfectly. Now I need department also from the employee master. Employee belongs to which department? So here we used foreign key reference. To get the employee department we have to use the join query, and we have to join department master. Based on the department ID we have to read the department name. Okay, for that I am giving one alias name here, employee master. I am going to use one join here. So from department master we need department. I am giving alias name as DM. We have to join here em dot department ID equal to DM dot department ID. Now we will get the department also. So we need DM dot department name. Okay, now execute this query. So we are getting name, designation, salary, state, country and department name here. Along with this I need one row number here. For each row I need one number. For that I will use row number over order by name. I want to get row number. So also I want to get the data order by employee name. Okay, now execute the query. So we are getting row number also. We have 14 records. We got the row number 1 to 14. Okay, next we need one more master data, that is department master data. Like this you can create n number of select queries in stored procedures. So now I need select star from department master. I want department name, department code only. Okay, department name required, then department code only required, and also here also I want one row number. For that I am using same thing here. Here I want to display order by department name. That's it. What we are doing is we are reading department name and department code, and we are displaying row number order by department name. Execute this query. So we are getting department name, department code, also row number also we added. Okay, So now our stored procedure is ready. Click on execute. It's created. Just you can check it here. So our stored procedure is ready to get the data from database. Now we have to create a class file to store business logics, and from there we have to establish a connection to database, and we have to read the data from the database. Okay. Switch to Visual Studio. Right click on the project, click on add. So we have to create one class file here to store all our business logics. So I am creating as grid data. So now our class has been created here. First we have to call our connection string here. For that I am creating one static function. I am going to return string here. I have to get the connection string. I am going to create one local variable, that is connection string, and I am assigning empty value here. Now we have to store the connection string from web.config. For that we need some namespaces, like configuration we need to read the connection string, and we need system.data. Also we need system.data.SQL client. Okay. Now we have to read the connection string here. Connection strings dot toString. Here we will get the connection string. We have to provide connection string name. From web.config I am taking my connection string name. I am pasting here. Finally we have to return the connection string. So now we are able to read the connection string from web.config. Next we have to create one function to get the data from the database based on this connectivity. Okay. Here we need DataSet. In previous session we have discussed how to bind the data to GridView. So in previous session we have taken data table. Data table can contain only single table. Now we have to store the multiple tables. That's why I am taking DataSet here. Get data. Here we need one SQL connection. I am creating one object here. Then I need SQL command. Then I need SQL data adapter. Finally we want one data set. I am creating object as DS. Now we have to establish a connection to our database here. Connection. We have to establish connection here. We will get the connection string from connection string. Now we established a connection to our database. We are reading connection string from the web.config, and we have established the connection string here. Now we need command connection dot create command. Now we have to pass what type of command type we are going to pass. So we are going to pass stored procedure. Now we have to provide the command text. Command text is nothing but our stored procedure name. So here our stored procedure name is available. Just paste it. It should match with our database, otherwise it will throw the error. Then I need SQL data adapter here. You have to pass the command. Then we will get the data set here. So we have to fill with DS. Finally you have to return the data set. Okay, that's it. Now we will get the data from the database, and we are storing both employee master and department data in DS, that is dataset we are storing. Okay. Now we have to create a function to bind the data to GridView. Okay. For that, switch to Visual Studio, right click on your ASPX page, click on View Code. Here I want to create one function to bind the data. For that, we have to initialize our business logic here. So we initialized our business logics, and we need one namespace called system.data here. Now I am creating one data set here to store the data. So I am going to store data set value in DS object we created, and we will get the data from our business logics. Here we have to check whether table is contains any value or not. First we have to check table 0, and if it is greater than 0, then we have to bind data to our grid view. Okay. Here tables contains, it starts with the 0, not from 1. Okay. gv1 dot data source is our ds dot tables of 0. Okay. Then we have to bind the data. Suppose if there is no records, then we have to display the message to user as there is no data available. Okay. For that, I am creating one empty row here. Rows dot add ds dot tables of 0 dot new row. So we are creating one empty row here. Then we have to provide the data source, and we have to bind. To clear all cells here. For that, only one row available. I want to clear all cells. Now it will make one single cell. Then now I am going to add one new table cell here. Now I have to use the call span here because we don't have any data. So based on number of columns available in table 0, we have to span the cells. Okay. Now we applied call span. Then we have to display our text here. I want to display as no data found. So this message I want to print. So finally I want to display message horizontally center. That's it. Now grid view 1 is complete. Dataset contains one more table called department master data. For that, we have to copy all the things again. We have to bind to grid view 2. So our table is 1. Okay. Here we are going to bind to grid view 2. Wherever 0 is available, we have to make it as 1 here because we are going to bind the data from table 1. So replace with gv2. So now we created our function, and we are able to read the data, and we are ready to bind the data to grid view. Now we have to call this function on page load. Okay. For that, if not is post back, then I want to bind the data. Okay. Now build the application. There is no error. Now we will put one breakpoint here. Run the application. It's executing here. So here we are getting data. So we will see how many tables available in our data set. See, this is table 0, this is table 1. So table 0 contains employee master information and table 1 contains department information. Okay. So it's binding as we expected. We have created one table and we added 2 grid views, and we created one stored procedure to get the data from the database, and the data we are getting from the database we stored in the data set and we are binding to grid views. Okay. So like this you can bind the data to multiple grid views, not only 2, you can use the n number of grid views as per your requirement. There is no restriction. Okay. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching my video.